Hello there, with the main event. As I was the first one on stage, I'll start, and I'm being recorded. So, um, yeah, as you might have noticed, the part that I performed in on the actual day was our trailer, basically. You know, a few added bits. So, I'll start talking about the trailer first. That's okay. Basically, we were all sat down brainstorming in the actual performance room itself, and I don't know what it was. Just after Steve's lessons, I just had a sudden wave, brain thing, and I thought about I just thought about how interesting it'd be to use the outside as well as the inside. I don't know what it was. It's just something that sounded really good in my head, and I think the trailer was really a test drive to see if it was appropriate and if people would really understand, because obviously we were doing something I would consider quite different, by using the outside space and by obviously me urinating against a wall. I wasn't quite sure how people would take it, and I think the group dynamic was key to that. I mean, the minute I mentioned it, Stacey and Sam, who were both there because Joe was away, um, both really jumped at it. They were like, "It's a really, really good idea, but how are we going to bring it back into the space?" And the idea with the bucket and the water was just I don't know where it came from. We literally were walking out of the room as I came up with it. I just kind of thought it didn't have to be anything. We didn't have to say much. The text itself can be represented through action as opposed to speech, and that was something that just really important to me. I just really love the idea that we didn't have to say much to convey Wojciech. And I mean, when it came to the actual outside, the trailer really showed me that I really liked the idea of people commentating on it themselves. The idea of self-narration. Obviously because the window isn't huge and it was a fairly big group, you got that whole impression that some people couldn't see me and other people would be telling them what I was doing, and I really loved that because the whole Chinese whispers idea about how things get distorted and changed, and I just really loved that prospect, that idea that something can really be remolded and come up with something totally different. Someone's view on it as opposed to someone who couldn't see was totally different, and I really loved that, and that's why I think we chose to keep it in. I think it was, we broke the fourth wall, but by not breaking it, if you like, we let the audience break it for us, and the detachment that the audience felt, in my opinion, really represented Wojciech in that instant. They don't understand him, but they're watching him anyway, and it was just something that was really important to my performance and just to me. I'm not gonna lie, I did make mistakes in the trailer. I acted outside, and that was something that I really didn't want to do. I wasn't keen to act. I wanted it to be a total non-Matrix performance. No acting involved. And that was some of the feedback. I think Steve came up to me afterwards and said, look, you don't want to act outside. You want it to be totally natural. And I did. It just, nerves kind of got to me, and I was really worried about how people would see it. So I thought, by acting, it would make it easier. It'd be less like me taking a piss against a wall, and more like Wojciech. But that was something that I really was key to change. And I think using Michael Kirby's example of happenings was something else that we kind of really incorporated. And I think Steve again mentioned him to us, and we kind of read a bit of his stuff, and it just really hit home that was almost what we were doing. Totally random stuff, but with a purpose as well. I when it came to the whole water idea, water as a cycle is something that is really important, and I think it was Gordon who showed us that the clip of a performance they used. They used it in a water factory, and I just thought that was such a clever idea, and it had that such idea of kind of madness and playfulness that I think it's really important that you portray. So when it actually came to the performance, I think we amended those few errors that we did. I appreciate Stacey banging in the trailer might have got repetitive, and I think that was something we did try and amend. We tried to make the space something that people would be interested in, and especially when it came to acting. Steve again realised very soon to us, came up to me afterwards again and said that we should keep acting in the room. And I really like that idea, like how the performance space itself was the performance, whereas the outside was something totally different. And when it came round to the performance, we left like little things lying around, like the army men, little things that could have been there by accident, but were there on purpose by us. And I just really love that idea of like, was that them putting that there, or was that there naturally? Like, Steve said about pigeon flying past, like when we were talking about, would that be us putting it there? And that really had that whole Michael Kirby aspect about it. And the plastic bag, I mean, the way we described it was insignificance turning into something significant. And I just thought that was really important. And I think that really showed, like, it did look very significant me being out there. But in terms of our performance, I think it was quite important. And it really set the scene for that kind of the madness. And then, obviously, I didn't just urinate. I also, used a bit of Weetabix, but threw up as well. And I think that almost took the cycle of food. Obviously I couldn't take a poo on stage. Well, I could have done, but would have been a little bit bizarre. And I don't think it would. I don't think people were quite ready for that yet. Maybe next year. Um, but yeah, I really loved that whole idea of like being sick, and apparently everyone was, it caused a little bit of controversy up there, and people were like, oh, gross. Covered myself in my own Weetabix sick. Um, and yeah, I really like that idea of people commentating on it themselves. I mean, apparently Gordon, you said, I don't want to misquote you, but you said what's he doing with that banana, I believe. And I really love that idea that oh, what's he doing with that banana? I didn't do anything with the banana, but like once again the whole Chinese whispers aspect get passed on, and it's just really really interesting idea. Well, I thought anyway, I quite liked it. And then the peas obviously was something we left outside. I ate them, with my bare hands after just taking a wee. So I thought that'd be like get the same kind of effect as when I drank the water. Kind of, that's a bit disgusting. Don't really want to see that. But yeah, no, really, really, really fun to play around with ideas. And then the peas obviously got brought back into the room when Sam was laying them, and it was something like that, kind of bringing the outside inside, and especially with our costumes. Like, I was wearing cargo jeans, like, army jeans, and then Sam was wearing, an army bandana around his wrist, and then Joe came in with army shorts, and I just thought that whole kind of link, and especially and as well, not just the army stuff, but also the waistcoats as well. They were quite important. They were mentioned in the text, and we did like to try and add little bits that are in the text to try and make it interesting. Yeah, when I came in mental, that was me acting again. So like when I was opening the doors and slamming around, that was the performance right there. I know something really interesting about it, and I'll let the other guys tell you their part.